section I would like to explain to you what is 360-degree feedback, what are the objectives with which 360-degree feedback is used, what are some of the benefits, and then go on to explain to you the process used in 360-degree feedback, part of which probably your organization is trying to use. Then I will go on to explain the TVRLS model, which we popularly call as RSDQ model of 360-degree feedback, and the steps involved in 360-degree feedback. What is 360-degree feedback? 360-degree feedback is a multi-source feedback. That is the feedback that you receive at the end of the year, or maybe a 2-year period, or maybe any period that you choose, from your colleagues with whom you have been interacting, from your subordinates whom you are supervising, from your seniors who are supervising you, and if there are any others within the organization who matter to you. Sometimes this also includes a feedback from external customers with whom you may have been interacting. So, it is a multi-source feedback received from different sources. This also includes an assessment of yourself. So, you assess yourself and ask people down and along sides and above you to assess, and all the assessments are put in some kind of a profile form graphically, and they are fed back to you, and that is what is 360-degree feedback. Why do we go for 360-degree feedback? The most important objective for which 360-degree feedback is used, at least in Asian countries, and we have been strongly propagating this, is to enhance one's effectiveness by understanding the impact one has made on the others in work situations. In other words, it is a tool to enhance personal effectiveness, managerial effectiveness, and leadership effectiveness by trying to find out what is the kind of impact you have made personally, managerially, as well as a leader on a whole number of people who have been working with you. This also has a number of other objectives. Many corporations try to use this to align individual goals with departmental goals. This can be done by designing an appropriate instrument which aligns individual goals with departmental goals. This is also used sometimes as a competency building tool to help the individual to see where he stands today and where he wants to go, and prepare action plans for going where he wants to go. This is also used as a performance monitoring measure, as a measure to identify developmental needs, as a culture building tool, as a tool to promote teamwork, as a tool to enhance quality, cost consciousness, and things of that kind. You can use this for any of the objectives in which people can make things happen. In some of the companies, they use terms like leadership development, potential development, career development, succession planning, training needs identification, and things of that kind. These are also the possible application areas of 360-degree feedback. What are some of the areas where 360-degree feedback is used? A study by the Society for Human Resource Management USA showed that about 45% of the use of 360-degree feedback is at upper and middle levels, and another 25% is at middle levels, and about 12 to 18% is first level managers and individual contributors. However, our own experience of doing 360-degree feedback in India for the last 10 years is that in 90% of the cases in India we use it for building leadership capabilities at top management levels and senior management levels. We have of course promoted the use of 360-degree feedback even for young managers, because studies have indicated that it is in the first year of work life a lot of leadership qualities get built in. Therefore, we strongly recommend to young engineers, MBAs and other employees that within the first 6 months of their work life, they should seek 360-degree feedback so that they can understand the impact they are making and build and sow leadership seeds in their own kind of a work life. I think that the Indian corporations have a long way to go to recognize the need for providing 360 opportunities for young managers. They are yet busy trying to develop the leadership competencies of people at the senior levels. I will now go on to share with you some of the models that we have used in TVRLS, what we call as the RSDQ model. The RSDQ model we use in 360-degree feedback means R stands for roles, S stands for styles, D stands for delegation, Q stands for qualities. At TVRLS, we believe that some of the easy things that can be changed in organizational life are the activities that you perform. The activities you perform when put together constitute the roles that you perform. For example, articulating the vision for your department or communicating the top management's vision or monitoring the vision and values or the implementation of vision and values of some of your juniors, or setting personal example in following the vision and values, all constitute a role which we may call as vision and value development role. You as a senior manager may be doing all these or some of these very well and not doing so well some of these. So, how do you know whether you are doing some of these roles well or not, or the activities you are performing well or not? We think that if you have an opportunity to know, it will be easier for you to improve your own performance of these roles. Now, I have mentioned only one set of roles, that is articulating vision and values. There can be other set of roles like developing subordinates, monitoring the performance of subordinates, or preparing strategic plans, or initiating systems, monitoring and implementing systems, ensuring internal customer satisfaction, even understanding the needs of internal customers, team building, or influencing the thinking of the boss, or servicing the external customers, and so on and so forth. There can be many roles or activities that you are expected to perform. Sometimes you may not even be aware that you are expected to perform certain roles which the boss is thinking that you are not doing well, but he never probably communicated to you. So, through an appropriate role based questionnaire, you are able to understand how well you are performing these roles and what are the expectations of your seniors, what are the expectations of your juniors, and you find the gaps and then you are able to work on them. This is the R part of our RSDQ model. The second part of our model is dealing with the styles with which you perform these roles. The style is a consistent pattern of behavior. For example, a role like articulating the vision for your department. You have so many ways in which you can articulate the vision. One of the ways of articulating the vision for your department is by reading some books, sitting one fine morning and writing your vision for the department and going back to your office, calling a meeting and telling all your people, look, this is my vision for our department. Now, hereafter we will all try to achieve this. This is a reasonably autocratic way of articulating the vision. Some of us believe in this, particularly if you think that your next level people have no capability to articulate the vision and it is your responsibility to pass on the vision and drive the vision, then you will probably follow this. It is not too bad to do this because there are some people who do not even do this much, but this may not be the best way to do it always, particularly if you have a set of very competent subordinates. There, a better way of doing it is, you may formulate your vision, but keep it with you in your own computer or in your drawer. Wait for your own subordinates and colleagues to come up with a vision for the department. You may tell them, you may appoint a task force, or you may ask them, each one of them, to write an essay on their vision for the department and conduct a 2-hour session or a half a day workshop. And at the end of it, you also share your vision and tell them, gentlemen, I have also formulated a vision, but my vision is far less or far inferior to the vision that all of you have, and I will add my part, and together we will make a grand vision, and this is our vision for our department. Now, when you do in this way formulation of a vision for your own department, we call it as a developmental style or a professional way of formulating the vision for your department. Now, there may be a third style in which you may believe that there is no point in formulating the vision. Okay, you may just simply follow the vision from the textbook and dump it down the throat of all your subordinates. Or you may say there is no need for any vision, these people are not vision driven, they are highly short term task oriented and therefore have a very critical view of your own kind of subordinates. Now, the way you behave in developing the vision, or the way you assign tasks, or the way you manage mistakes, or the way you conduct meetings, or the way you reward people, or the way you set goals, the way you share information, they are all reflective of your own kind of styles. Fortunately for us, there is some research available which indicates that certain styles are more productive under certain kinds of circumstances, and certain other styles are less productive under those very circumstances. For example, a critical style may not be very useful for a set of competent people, whereas a paternalistic style may be very useful for a newcomer or when you take charge of a department and so on. Quite a few of us don't even know what kind of styles that we have. Now, in the S part of our model, we try to identify if you have a dominant style, and if you have a dominant style, which of the three does it belong to? The paternalistic, or what we call as benevolent style, the critical or a theory X type style, the developmental or the professional style. So, we have a questionnaire which measures this particular kind of a part of your style and also measures the impact your style has on the group of people whom you are leading. Sometimes you may have a very positive impact, sometimes you may have a very negative kind of an impact. Sometimes your style may create resentment, some other times it may create dependence, and some other times it may create learning. What is the extent to which you have created dependence? What is the extent to which you have created learning? What is the extent to which you have created resentment? All these are assessed through the style part of our questionnaire. The third part of our questionnaire, D, RSDQ, D deals with delegation. Now, in this part of the questionnaire, we assess the extent to which you are indicating symptoms of delegation. You know, the higher you go, the more important it is for you to think even higher. But normally, most of us have a tendency to carry our chair with us. What I mean by that is, you get promoted every 2 to 3 years, but with every promotion, you continue to do the job, the same job which you were doing in the previous 2 years. And after about 15 to 20 years of promotions, about 5 to 6 promotions you get in a period of about maybe let us say 12 to 15 years, and you discover and quite often complain that I am the senior vice president or the president of this company, but I am doing the same thing which I used to do about 15 years ago. And that is not the fault of the organization, that is partly your fault, because with every success you got promoted, and with every promotion you thought you should continue to do what was responsible for your success, and that is what you did in the previous job. So, you carry your chair and you discover that you are not operating anymore like a president, but you are operating like an assistant manager. In India, we find it is important periodically to communicate to people that they are delegating or not delegating adequately. So, our D part of the questionnaire measures the extent to which you show symptoms of non-delegation. There is a very 10 simple questions that are asked on which you are assessed by your subordinates and colleagues. It will tell you whether you are a delegating type, whether you are showing symptoms of delegation or not. The last part of our questionnaire, the qualities part, is the one which deals with the qualities of good managers or some of the world class leaders. This questionnaire can be changed to suit the requirements of your corporation. If you don't change, we use our standard questionnaire in which we have picked up some 25 qualities, like whether you are calm and composed or irritable, whether you are proactive or reactive, whether you are defensive or receptive, whether you are creative or you are not very flexible, whether you listen to people or don't listen to people, and things of that nature. It is possible to change this questionnaire by substituting the values your company believes in or the competencies, if you had a competency model of your own kind of a company that you believe in, and put those competencies as a part of this particular kind of a questionnaire. Now, along with this part of the questionnaire, we also have a set of open-ended questions where the people who assess you, that is your subordinates, colleagues and seniors, are asked to identify 4 or 5 strong points that they have observed in you, and 4 or 5 areas where they expect you to do better than before, or weaknesses they would like you to improve, to help you to build yourself as a more effective leader or as a manager. This is the RSDQ model based questionnaire. Some companies prefer to drop S part of RSDQ and call it an RDQ questionnaire, or D part of it and call it an RSQ questionnaire. Some others may make it an RQ questionnaire. This flexibility we give to the corporations depending upon the time they have at their disposal and the importance they attach to all these 4 parts of leadership and managerial behavior. That is about a model. The tool that you use in 360-degree feedback is the heart of 360-degree feedback. If you don't use an appropriate tool, then you are not likely to get the feedback on right kind of dimensions. Therefore, we recommend to organizations to study either our tool or to develop with our help or with an internal in-house team their own kind of a tool, maybe using our RSDQ kind of models, but make sure that you spend enough time to have the right kind of a tool, because people are going to be, if you are going to have 20 people assessed by about 10 to 15 each, that is about 200 to 300 people spending about half an hour to an hour's time, that is about 200 to 300 hours are given to make the assessment, and you do not want this to be a waste. Therefore, make sure by spending at least 15 to 20 hours that you have the most appropriate kind of a tool used for 360-degree feedback assessment. You may use our model, you may use your own model, but make sure you use a relevant kind of a tool. Let me also tell you at this time that it is not necessary to use any of these tools. You can use any tool that you have picked up from psychometric books, like a tool like a FIRO-B, Fundamental Interpersonal Relations Orientation Behavior tool, or a tool like a Personal Effectiveness Questionnaire or Work Values Questionnaire, etc., and get yourself assessed. It depends on your interest. If you have already used 2 or 3 times RSDQ questionnaires and you have reasonably satiated with this or saturated with this, then you may want to try out finding about yourself on tools that you have not used so far. But make sure that you spend adequate time in choosing the tool. The next most important thing in 360-degree feedback is the choice of your respondents.